10. Early signs and symptoms of HIV in men you need to know. Girls have a higher chance of getting HIV than boys when they are exposed to the virus. Studies show that if 100 women have unprotected intimacy with men who have HIV, there is about 0.08% risk, or 8 women out of 100 will get the virus. On the other hand, if infected women have unprotected intimacy with 100 men, only 0.04%, or 4 men out of 100 have the chance of getting HIV. This means that women are more likely to get HIV compared to men during these situations. But why is HIV infection risk higher for women compared to men? Well, let's first understand what HIV is all about. Ready? Let's go, guys. Imagine a world where an invisible enemy could silently inhabit your body, waiting, watching, and slowly changing everything you know about your health. This is the reality of HIV, a virus that has touched millions of lives, challenged medical science, and transformed countless personal stories. HIV impacts individuals from every background, affecting everyone from casual laborers in town to high-profile celebrities. For instance, on a crisp autumn morning in 2003, Magic Johnson, a legendary basketball player, stood before millions of Americans and announced something that would change public perception forever. He was HIV positive. His courage in sharing his story broke down stigmas and showed the world that HIV wasn't a death sentence, but a manageable condition that could be understood and controlled. Also, Freddie Mercury, the iconic lead singer of Queen, had kept his HIV status private until just one day before his death in November 1991. His public announcement confirmed that he had tested HIV positive and had developed AIDS. Mercury's statement highlighted the importance of awareness and compassion in the fight against AIDS, and his legacy continues to inspire activism and support for those affected by the virus. More still, actor Charlie Sheen revealed his HIV-positive status in 2015 after living with the virus since 2011. His announcement was prompted by fears of being extorted by individuals threatening to disclose his condition. Sheen's decision to go public aimed to raise awareness and reduce stigma surrounding HIV. He has since expressed a commitment to helping others and advocating for responsible living with the virus. And more, Billy Porter, known for his role in Pose, publicly disclosed that he had been living with HIV since 2007 and May 2021. He chose to share his diagnosis after feeling empowered by portraying a character living with the virus. Porter emphasizes that he is more than just his diagnosis and uses his platform to combat stigma associated with HIV, advocating for acceptance and understanding within the entertainment industry and beyond. My final celebrity, Rock Hudson, was one of the first major celebrities to announce he had AIDS in 1985. His revelation brought significant attention to the AIDS crisis at a time when public knowledge and understanding were limited. Hudson's announcement not only helped raise awareness, but also spurred increased funding for AIDS research and support programs following his death from complications related to the disease. And hey, we are not yet done. Surprising facts about HIV. Let me tell you about some interesting groups of people when it comes to HIV. First, we have elite controllers. These are very special individuals who have HIV but don't show any symptoms and don't need medication to stay healthy. For every 200 people with HIV, only about 1 is an elite controller. Their immune systems are super strong and can keep the virus from making them sick. Scientists study elite controllers because they might help us find new ways to treat or even cure HIV in others. Next, we have fast progressors. These people are usually diagnosed with HIV and start showing symptoms pretty quickly, often within a few months. They don't wait long before the virus starts affecting their health. On the other hand, there are intermediate progressors and slow progressors. Intermediate progressors take a bit longer to show symptoms, while slow progressors can live with HIV for many years without getting sick. Slow progressors can sometimes stay healthy for over 8 years. Lastly, there are some individuals who never catch HIV at all, even if they are exposed to it. These people might have special genes that help protect them from the virus. This means that while many people can get HIV, some have bodies that simply won't let the virus in. Understanding these different groups helps scientists learn more about how to fight HIV and keep people healthy. Having that said, today, we're diving deep into a journey that affects less than 1% of the population, but impacts lives in profound ways. We'll explore the early signs of HIV in men, unravel medical mysteries, and shine a light on hope, resilience, and cutting-edge research. Understanding HIV. HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, is not the same as AIDS. Think of HIV like a quiet intruder that enters your body's complex defense system, slowly changing how your immune system works. Most people don't realize they've been infected immediately because the early signs can be subtle and easily mistaken for other common illnesses. But before we dive into the main part of this video, let's quickly go through HIV data. USA HIV statistics. HIV, or human immunodeficiency virus, affects people all around the world, and it's important to understand how it impacts different regions. In the United States, states like Florida, California, and New York have some of the highest numbers of people living with HIV. When we look at the statistics, we see that about 75% of new HIV cases are in men, while women make up about 25% of new diagnoses. This shows that men are more likely to be diagnosed with HIV in the US, but women are still significantly affected. Global HIV statistics. Looking beyond the US, many countries also face challenges with HIV. Globally, around 39.9 million people were living with HIV in 2023. In many parts of the world, especially in Eastern Europe and Central Asia, new infections are increasing. Interestingly, women and girls accounted for about 46% of all new infections globally in 2022. This means that while men may have higher rates in some places, women are still a large part of the story when it comes to HIV. Africa HIV statistics. In Africa, the situation is even more serious. The continent has the highest number of people living with HIV, with around 25 million people affected. Sub-Saharan Africa is particularly hard hit, where young women are 3 times more likely to be infected than their male peers. In 2022 alone, about 1.2 million people were newly infected with HIV in this region. Despite these challenges, there is hope. Many people in Africa are receiving treatment that helps them live healthier lives and reduces the spread of the virus. Having said all the above, there are certain health problems that occur to your body once you get exposed and infected with HIV. These health issues will occur at different times during the course of the disease till you develop the final stage called AIDS, as I explained below. The 3 stages of HIV infection. The following are the stages of HIV an adult person goes through after exposure and infection. 1. Acute HIV infection, or early stage. The acute stage of HIV infection typically lasts from a few days up to 4 weeks after a person is exposed to the virus. This stage is also known as primary HIV infection, or acute retroviral syndrome. During this time, the virus multiplies rapidly in the body, and many people may experience flu-like symptoms such as fever, fatigue, sore throat, and swollen lymph nodes. However, not everyone shows symptoms. Some individuals may feel completely fine during this period. Most commonly, symptoms start to appear about 2 to 4 weeks after the initial exposure to HIV. If symptoms do occur, they usually last for a week or 2, but they can persist for up to a month before disappearing, even without treatment. This is a crucial time because the viral load, or the amount of HIV in the blood, is very high, making individuals highly infectious and capable of transmitting the virus to others. After the acute stage, if no treatment is received, the infection can progress to the chronic stage. In some individuals, this stage begins 2 to 4 weeks after infection and could last for up to 1 to 3 months. 2. Chronic HIV infection, or latent stage. The chronic stage of HIV infection, also known as the clinical latency stage, can last a long time, often between 10 to 15 years without treatment. During this time, the virus remains active but reproduces at very low levels. Many people do not experience any symptoms and may feel perfectly healthy. This is why it's sometimes called the asymptomatic stage. Individuals might not even realize they are infected unless they get tested. However, even though symptoms may be absent, the virus can still be transmitted to others. If a person does not receive treatment during this chronic stage, the infection will continue to progress over time. While some people may remain in this stage for many years, others might progress to the next stage, known as AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, sooner. The rate of progression can vary greatly from person to person based on factors like overall health, lifestyle, and access to medical care. But as I said earlier, some individuals are classified as long-term non-progressors, meaning they can live with HIV for many years without developing AIDS. 3. The AIDS or advanced HIV stage. The AIDS stage of HIV infection, also known as stage 3, occurs when the immune system is severely damaged, and the body can no longer effectively fight off infections. Without treatment, This stage can lead to serious health complications and is often associated with a significantly reduced life expectancy. The duration of the AIDS stage can vary widely from person to person, but on average, individuals with untreated AIDS may live for about 3 years. However, this time frame can be shorter or longer depending on various factors such as overall health, access to medical care, and the presence of opportunistic infections. When a person progresses to AIDS, it is usually indicated by a CD4 cell count dropping below 200 cells per cubic millimeter of blood, or the occurrence of specific opportunistic infections, or cancers that are rare in people with healthy immune systems. Symptoms during this stage can include severe weight loss, chronic diarrhea, night sweats, fever, persistent cough, and skin or mouth problems. These symptoms arise because the immune system is unable to protect against common infections. Early signs of HIV in men. The following are physical symptoms of HIV in men. Unexplained and persistent fatigue. A constant feeling of exhaustion that doesn't improve with rest, making daily activities increasingly difficult. Sudden weight loss. Noticeable and unintentional weight loss over a short period, often without any changes in diet or physical activity. Recurring fever or night sweats. Frequent episodes of fever that may come and go, accompanied by intense night sweats that can soak clothing and bedding. Swollen lymph nodes. Enlargement of lymph nodes, often felt in the neck, armpits, or groin, indicating the body's immune response to infection. Skin rashes or unusual skin conditions. Development of rashes that may be red, raised, or itchy, alongside other skin abnormalities that may appear without clear cause. Biological HIV considerations. Females have a higher chance of contracting HIV compared to males for several reasons. One major factor is biological. Their reproductive organ has a larger surface area that can come into contact with HIV-infected fluids, which increases the risk of infection. Additionally, women are often more vulnerable due to social factors such as lack of power in relationships, early marriages, and coerced sexual experiences, which can lead to unprotected sex. Moreover, women are more likely to have untreated sexually transmitted infections, or STIs, which can make it easier for HIV to enter the body. In regions like sub-Saharan Africa, these factors are compounded by issues such as poverty and gender-based violence, making it even harder for women to protect themselves from HIV. Men and women exhibit distinct experiences with HIV largely due to biological differences. For instance, fluctuations in testosterone levels, which tend to be higher in men, can significantly affect the immune response and the course of the infection. Women, on the other hand, have unique hormonal cycles that may influence their susceptibility to infection and how the virus behaves in their bodies. Additionally, immune system responses can differ. Research indicates that women often mount stronger immune responses to infections compared to men, which can affect viral load and progression of the disease. These biological variations underscore the importance of considering sex and gender when developing treatment strategies and interventions for HIV, as they may significantly impact the effectiveness of care and the progression of the virus. Latest news: HIV cure research. There's some really exciting research happening to find a cure for HIV, and one of the companies leading the way is American Gene Technologies. They are working on a special treatment called AGT103T, which is a type of gene therapy. This means they take a person's own cells and change them so they can fight off HIV better. Recently, they began a big step in their clinical trial by withdrawing participants from their regular HIV medications. This is important because it helps scientists see if their treatment can actually help people live without needing medicine forever. Another company making progress is GeoVax, which is developing an experimental vaccine for HIV. This vaccine aims to help the body recognize and fight the virus more effectively. If it works well, it could be a great addition to the treatments available for people living with HIV. These companies are working hard to combine their efforts, which could lead to even better results. Imagine if people with HIV could take just one treatment and then stop taking medicine for life. Researchers are super hopeful about these advancements. If these trials show that these treatments work, it could mean that people living with HIV might not only live healthier lives, but could also stop taking their medicines altogether. HIV tests, accuracy, and window period. When it comes to finding out if someone has HIV, there are several common testing methods that doctors use. One of the most popular tests is called the antigen antibody test. This test looks for both HIV antibodies and a special protein called an antigen that the virus makes. If you get this test done at a lab using blood from your arm, it can usually detect HIV about 18 to 45 days after someone has been exposed to the virus. If you use a finger prick for this test, it might take a little longer, around 18 to 90 days. This test is pretty accurate and is often recommended because it can catch the virus early. Another quick option is the rapid HIV test. This test can be done at a doctor's office or even at home, and it gives results in just about 30 minutes. It usually checks for antibodies in a small drop of blood from your finger. The window period for this test is similar to the antibody tests, which means it can detect HIV about 18 to 90 days after exposure. However, if the result is positive, it's important to get a follow-up test to confirm it. The third type is something called a nucleic acid test, or NAT. This test looks for the actual virus in the blood and can tell if someone has HIV as early as 10 to 33 days after exposure. It's not used as often because it's more expensive and usually done in special situations, like when someone has been recently exposed and needs answers quickly. Overall, these different testing methods help people know their HIV status so they can get the right care and support. What to know if you are HIV positive? HIV is not the devastating diagnosis it once was. With modern medicine, support, and early detection, individuals can lead full, healthy lives. Regular testing, understanding your body, and maintaining open communication with healthcare professionals are key. Remember, knowledge dispels fear. By understanding HIV, we demystify the virus and support those affected. Together, we can transform how we understand and respond to HIV.